Yahweh Shemel Shai. Yahweh Shemel Shai. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
With this crown, I declare you our sovereign. All hail the king! I, Esdras, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people, whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, with songs. And in the midst of them, there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. Receive this crown as a blessing from the Most High. May your reign be just and prosperous. So I asked the angel, and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. With this crown, I bestow upon you the legacy of our people. Rule wisely. Now are they crowned, and receive palms. Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of Yahweh, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. With this crown, I charge you to lead our people with wisdom and strength. All hail the new king. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way, and tell my people what manner of things, and how great wonders of the Lord thy God thou hast seen. I now crown you king. All hail the new king. Long live the king.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shemel Shai. Yahweh Shemel Shai. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards young brothers. And peace and blessings and salutations to the whole lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. All right. And what I want to get into today, ask the question, why are we here? Why are we here? Because, as the Lord has allowed, this great awakening, and you have, the scripture promise about a remnant, okay, that will be awakened in these latter days, okay, and also amongst that remnant, you will have the undesirables, that will be awakened to who they are, okay, as Israelites, all right, and they wouldn't fully come into the truth, because a lot of our people, they can agree, okay, with the message of, them being the Israelites. But when it comes to what comes with being the Israelite, the responsibility and the discipline of being an Israelite in the wicked society, Jake don't want to deal with it. Okay. Now Jake agree, with the perks that comes with the promises of being Israelites. But then even in that, Jake don't believe, okay, in, an Israelite kingdom dominating the earth. And this is why we're here, because the Lord is transitioning kingdoms. Okay. The Lord is transitioning the kingdom from one people, Esau, Edom, to another. And Jake don't have confidence in their promise like that. And that's why Jake tries to water down, the promises, to Israel. And then they try to water down the punishment that's coming, for the other nations. But no, that's why we're here. It's time for a great punishment in the earth. Okay. And then it's time, all right, for a new power, all right, to run the earth, a new nation of people to run the earth. And that begins with Yahweh Shai, and that's the nation of Israel that's getting ready to run the earth, man. Matter of fact, let's let's go here. Let's get this in because what we're finna see, is great power being showed to do two things, to punish and to reward. Okay, and this is why we're here, and we're speaking, on the nations that's about to get punished, these Edomites and these heathens. And 2/3 that fully, all right, that don't believe, that ignore, or they don't fully believe what we're about, okay, what the truth is about. Okay, they're gonna get caught up in their judgment, man. When you go to the book of Sirach, let's get this, Sirach 16. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 16. Okay. In verse 12, it says, as his mercy is great, so is his correction. Also, he judges the man according to his works. Okay. So just as the Lord's, mercy is great, his correction is great as well. And the Lord's getting ready to have mercy on his people. All right. The mercy of the Lord is reserved for his people, beginning with the elect. No one else is going to fall under their mercy. Salvation is mercy. These heathens are not going to fall under the mercy, man. Okay. That the Lord has preserved for his people. Okay. And why are Israelites being saved? Okay. Why we're going to be beamed up on those chariots and changed. Okay. And the laws written within us to come and govern the earth in righteousness. Why? Going back to the question, why are we here? Okay. Let's go here. Let's go to Isaiah 63 and we'll jump around. You see, the Lord finna bring a new age, to the earth, and it's gonna be the age of Israel. Okay. It's going to be a whole new existence established in the earth. Okay. And it can't be watered down. And we're here for that new existence. And it's going to be in righteousness, man. This is why we've been raised up, man. Because you go to Isaiah 63. All right. Well, 61. Let's go to Isaiah 61. It says, the spirit, okay, of the Lord power is upon me, because the Lord have anointed me. And this begins with Yahweh Shai. And this is what Yahweh Shai quoted in the book of Luke, the 4th chapter. Okay, around about the 17th verse, he begins to quote this precept. Okay, and we, all right, as ambassadors of Yahweh Shai, well, we've been ordained to do the same thing. And that's to do what? It said, the spirit of the Lord power is upon me, because the Lord have anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. Okay. He have sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. Okay, so the spirit of the Lord is on particular men to come with the good news, the good tidings, man. And you look at what these heathens have done to us, man, beginning with Esau. But these other heathens, man, you go into the sub-Saharan trade slave, man, Ishmael was brutal on Jake, man. Okay, Ishmael is brutal. All right. And you just go through our history, man. You look, all these heathens are our enemies, man. And the good news is that the Lord is getting ready to avenge us, man. He's getting ready to deal with these heathens, man. Okay, that's the good news. That's part of the message that we're teaching to our people. Okay, because it says the good tidings or the good news, the gospel, okay, to the meek, you know, because here it is, the Lord has reserved a remnant, man. Okay, and that remnant, all right, will be preached the good news within this captivity, man. You know, and this is what has revived us, man. This is what has given us new purpose and new life. Is this good news, man? Okay, that's why scripture will go into what to bind up the brokenhearted, man. Because this captivity, you know, has our people defeated, broken. Okay, even our people that's out here, you know, doing this and doing, you know, trying to live and chasing this and trying to be that's a people that's a people that's traumatized, man. You know, Jake go out here and get into this, the nigga woman be here and they're trying to do that. These people are traumatized, man. They trying to mask it. They try to mask it with success, with money, with sex, with clout, with attention, with drugs. Okay, they're trying to mask being broken, man. Okay, because this society was set up to break Jake, man. Okay, because what our people consider winning in this society, it destroys them. Self-destruction is considered winning in this society. Okay, men living in a culture to where they just shoot each other up. Okay, junkies, you know, it's cute to be a junkie now. Jake is trying to mask their hurt and their trauma, man. The nigga woman out here getting these bodies and in and out these different situations, and you know, the type of man that she's attracted to, man. This is a people that's hurt, that's traumatized, man, broken hearted. Okay, no other nation on earth is broken like Jake. So this good news is for Jake, and it's beginning to bind up. See, the elect have been extrapolated from the madness and the brokenness of our people, and we began to be bound up. You see, this is dealing with an isolated nation, man. When you go into the Bible, this is an isolated message, okay, to an isolated nation. Okay, now within this, there's punishments, okay, that the Lord, all right, wants us to pronounce to these nations for what? For what they did to his nation. There's a punishment for all the nations that have had a part in this. Okay, matter of fact, let's get that, and then we'll go back, because you go to what is it, Zechariah 1 and 15, and it says, "And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction." Okay, let's read this in the AMP. "But I'm very angry with the nation." The Lord is pissed at the nations, man. Okay, this is not no light thing what the Lord finna do, all right, to these nations, man. The Lord is pissed. Okay, scripture, "But I'm very angry with the nations who are at ease and feel secure." Because what are these nations doing, okay, in the midst of everything that's going on? They're setting up a technocracy, man. You know, they're setting up digital public infrastructure. These nations is chilling. Okay, they're setting up new trade deals and agreements and alliances, and they got all type of plans for infrastructure and you know, smart cities. These nations are at ease, man. Beginning with Esau, Edom. Okay, it said, "For I was but a little." It says, going back, it said, "But I'm very angry with the nations who are at ease and feel secure. For while I was only a little angry, they furthered, all right, they furthered the disaster against the people of Israel." So the Lord was angry at us and he gave us into their power. Okay, beginning with Esau, Edom. He gave us over, you know, to the heathen, beginning with Esau, man. We're possession of Esau. And within this, these nations, the dogs is licking the sores of our wounds. Okay, they benefit on us being the tail. The global economy benefit off these people being the tail, the tribes being the tail of this economy, man, and being the most of and being majority of what? The labor. Okay, so these nations are at ease because this global economy was jump started through slavery, free labor. Okay, so all these nations are benefiting of all the free labor Esau got from the tribes, man. Okay, these modern cities, all that come off the backs and the labor of the tribes, man. Okay, of the tribes continually being destroyed. Okay, and being the tail. This is how these heathens thrive, man. So none of these heathens are, the elites of these, these heathen nations. Okay, the gospel doesn't appeal to them. But what Esau got, this was appealing to these nations, man. You see what Esau talking about? What are these nations doing? They're on board with Esau because this is appealing. You see, they have some type of victory, even though they're under Esau. They still have, victory within this system, this beast system. Okay, they have some type of win. You see, but when we go into the gospel, the good news, where all these heathens go into captivity, these heathens don't want nothing to do with this, man. Okay, and everything they do is to assist Esau. These governments of the heathen, they're assisting Esau in furthering the destruction of the tribes, man. To keep the tribes in a sunken place, a place of complete servitude, a place of complete degeneracy, man. So let's read this again and we'll go back. It said, angry. This is Zechariah 1:15 in the AMP. But I am very angry with the nations who are at ease and feel secure. Okay? And feel secure, for I was only a little angry. All right? They furthered the disaster. All right? They furthered the disaster against, the people of Israel. So the Lord was a little angry. All right? And all these heathens do, is to further our affliction, man, while they're at ease. And I say this new world order is about these heathens being more at ease. Okay, in this system where we're the tail. Okay, and you go into the footnotes on Zechariah 1:15 in the AMP. It says the powerful Gentile nations whom the Most High used to punish the Israelites, for their disobedience. When it says the nations who are at ease, all right. Now it said they furthered the disaster. It says the conquering nations sought to wipe out the children of Israel, an evil which exceeds the Most High's intended punishment. And this begins with Esau Edom. Okay, he's done too much. Okay, so we're here to pronounce the judgment for what these heathens have done. They've done too much. All of them, beginning with Esau, and it's because they're following Esau. Okay, let's go here. There's no good news, for the heathen. Gospel, doesn't apply to the heathen because there's no good news in this for them. Okay, so as a prophet, why are we here? We're not here to proclaim, the judgment of the Lord in its totality, man, which he's fully against the heathen. And what are we doing? Okay, Ezekiel 35 and 1. I'm gonna read in the AMP. Ezekiel 35:1 in the AMP. It said, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Mount Seir, all right, Edom, and prophesy against it. So one of the things that we've been commissioned to do is to prophesy against Edom, the nation in its totality, man. Every descendant of Edom we're to prophesy against, man. Okay, this is why the Lord raised the prophets up. Okay, to preach the good news, the gospel. Okay, to be watchmen unto the elect. Okay, to show Jacob their transgression, because Jacob has a chance of mercy, man. And then to the heathen pronounce their judgment, man. This is why we're here. You see? And 2/3 that refuse to repent, they're going to get caught up in the judgment with the heathen. Now, the thing with 2/3 of Israel, they're going to be brought back. They're going to be born through the remnant that's saved. Okay? But they're going to have to be judged amongst these heathens, man. Or it's just going to be a horrific judgment. The Lord said the same shall know it, but by death, by pain. Okay? So that's going to be that's going to be a torment, man. The Most High is going to torment 2/3, man. Okay? For not taking heed. You see? So verse 3 says, and say to it, thus says the Lord power. And see, that's a thing too. And Jake just all over the place, man. Jake is on the completely opposite agenda of the Lord. Okay, which we know, what I'm saying, these men have sold out. Their motivation is, a gift has destroyed the heart. These men, have gotten used to living out the filthy lucre of the ministry. Okay, and to keep them lifestyles going, these men teach and say anything. Okay, but then you have the masses of Israelites that follow these men. Okay, showing you that Jake is not with the agenda of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. There's no way you can be into the Bible and these men are able to just tell you any goddamn thing. It's one thing, to have a question about the doctrine, but for these men to be able to tell you anything and you rock with it, it's on you. Your blood is on you. Okay, you're fully responsible for how it's finna play out. Okay, and it says, and say to it, thus said the Lord power, behold, Mount Seir, I am against you, and will stretch out my hand against you and make you completely desolate, man. Okay, it's a complete destruction coming for Esau, man. America gonna be completely destroyed, the landmass of America. And these heathens, these heathens, along with Esau, going into captivity. And Esau, he's going to be eradicated after 1,000 years, man. There's a complete destruction coming to Esau, man. Okay? America going to be completely blotted out the earth. Okay? His authority is going to be completely taken away. Okay? And then as a nation, he's going to cease to exist after 1,000 years, man. Okay? So eventually Esau is going to be completely desolate, man. Okay, and it says, and I will destroy your cities and you will become a wasteland, man. We're here to pronounce judgment, man. The Lord finna nuke America, man. Okay, it's finna be nuclear war in the earth, man. All right, and these nations are going to go at it with each other, and Yahweh Shai is going to come back in the midst of that, man, and slaughter these nations, the militaries of these nations, man. This is the message. Okay, Yahweh Shai is taking down the military of the heathens because he's finna take populations of the heathens into captivity. Okay, you see, you break when you take down, a stronghold. Okay, when you take down the nation's military, guess what? That nation is now spoiled unto you, man. Yahweh Shai finna spoil the earth, man. What did you saying? Okay, the mercy is only for Israel, and at this time, the elect of Israel. Okay, so Yahweh Shai is taking down these kingdoms, the militaries of these heathens, because he's finna put the heathen in captivity. Nigga, you don't need no military. You finna go to work. Okay, and we'll get there. Ezekiel 35:5. Because you descendants of Esau, have had an everlasting hatred, okay, for Jacob, Israel, all right, and you handed over the sons of Israel to the power of the sword at the time of their tragedy, at the time of their final punishment, the Babylonian conquest, man. You know, you see? So you Edomite, you descendants of Esau, all of them, man, every last one of them, the descendants of Esau has had this everlasting hatred for Jacob, man, for Jacob. Okay, and they will always assist us when we were being taken down. All right, they will always assist, another nation in taking us down, man. Every chance they get, okay, they will aid the downfall of us as a people, man. And now that they're in power, they have gotten all these nations on board to keep their foot on our neck, man. Yahweh Shai is coming to remove the foot off the neck of the Israelites, beginning with the elect, man. And we getting ready to put our foot on their necks, man. Just like in the time of Joshua, man. Okay? And it says, and you handed over the sons of Israel to the power of the sword in the time of their tragedy, in the time of their final punishment, man. Okay? So you devils have went too far. Okay? Here it is. We were supposed to be, released from captivity. And what did you devil do, man? You never let up. There was more lynching after slavery than in slavery, man. Okay, KKK was a response to so-called, freedom of Jake, which we know was just a transfer from private-owned to corporate-owned slaves, man. From a plantation to plants. Okay, but this devil, he never let up. There was not one time when this devil let up. Even when he made it seem like you was included in his society, he was at war with you, man. Feminism, that was spiritual war. That's a satanic doctrine, man. Okay, and that's why it's been so dark since then, since feminism until now. Okay, our people have become dark and degenerate, man. That was a satanic doctrine that this man, all right, infused, okay, amongst the tribes, man. Okay, when you go into the roots of Satanism, and then after that, what happened? You had the drugs. That was chemical warfare. So-called, civil rights, he allowed you niggas to sit on the bus with him, okay, eat in a restaurant with him, drink from the water fountain. But then he began to wage war on you in a more covert manner, in a more secretive manner, in a more systemic manner. To now, Jake is in self-destruct mode. Okay? The culture of destruction that our people have was fabricated to them by the enemy. Okay? Esau, Edom. Okay? And all these nations, okay, they helped forward the affliction of Jake, man. Okay? Well, now, man, Yahweh Shai, he's coming to take these people down, man. He come down to take down the nations, man, all of them. Okay? And restore the sons of God back to power in the earth, man, in which the Israelite, all right, men, women, and children, okay, are going to benefit from it. The elect, okay, of Israel, men, women, and children are going to benefit from Yahweh Shai coming to take down the heathen, okay, and establish the sons of God, the Israelites, back in power, beginning with the first fruit, man. Okay, this is why we're here, man. We're here for Israel to be restored, man. Okay, these nations, they finna go through punishment. They finna be punished, man. That's it. Ain't nothing outside of it, man. Okay, and it's not that hard. You see, this is the book of Haggai, chapter 2. verse 22. And it says, and I will overthrow the throne of kingdoms. It says, and I will overthrow the throne of kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen. You see that? And I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the horse and their riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. Because Yahushua is going to destroy the heathen in World War III. And before Yahushua returns, the heathen going to be fighting each other. And that's why I say the second area, they're going to leave off from fighting one another to try to subdue Yahushua. So they're going to be destroying each other. These militaries are going to be destroying each other in World War III. And when Yahushua comes, they're going to unify to fight him. And he's going to run through all of them, man. He's going to destroy the militaries of the heathen, man. The strength of the heathen, which is their military. Okay? And when these militaries of the heathen are destroyed, guess what? The heathen population, they remain, they survive. Because ain't no salvation. Surviving and salvation, okay, is completely different. Okay? Because they're being the reason they're being allowed to survive is to go straight into captivity. Okay, we finna enslave the population of the heathen. All right, Yahushua is going to come and destroy, okay, the militaries of the heathen, man. Let's go here. It's the book of Joshua, chapter 10. You see, this is what we on, man. Okay. Now you had kings hiding from Joshua. Okay, as during the time of Joshua, all right, the Lord was with them. Okay, and they were just conquering, these heathen kings. Okay, and you had these certain kings that they hid out in the cave, as the militaries of Israel, the armies of Israel, through the power of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, were just running through these heathens, man. Okay, this is Joshua 10 and 20. I started at 20. I read this in the AMP. It says, now when Joshua and the sons of Israel had finished striking the Amorites dead in a very great defeat until they were wiped out, and in the surviving remnant, all right, among them had entered the fortified cities, all the people returned to the camp to Joshua at Makkedah in peace. No one uttered a threatening word against any of the sons of Israel. Then Joshua said, open the mouth of the cave and bring out to me those 5 Amorite kings from the cave. They did so and brought the 5 Amorite kings, all right, these are Canaanites, out of the cave, okay, to him, the king of Jerusalem and the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. When they brought these kings out to Joshua, Joshua called for all the men of Israel and commanded, all right, and told the commanders of the men of war who had gone with him, come up close, put your feet on the necks of these kings. So they came forward and put their feet on the necks of the 5 kings. Okay? So Joshua made, the commanders of the military come and put their foot on the neck of these heathens, man, these Canaanite kings, man. And that's what Yahushua, okay, he's coming to do for us. Put us in the position of complete authority over the heathen, all of them, man. Okay? This is why we're here, man. We're finna put our feet on the necks of our enemies, man. Okay? The saints of the Most High, the Israelites, getting ready to take the kingdom under Yahushua. Okay? This is verse 25. Joshua said to them, do not fear or be dismayed, all right, intimidated. Be scared, be strong and courageous, for this is what the Lord will do to all your enemies against whom you are about to fight, man. Lord finna run that back. All right, Yahweh Shai is coming as a conqueror, man. This is why we're here, man. We're here to conquer the heathens, man. That's the good news. That's part of the gospel. Jake taking away the good from the news. Okay? Ain't no negotiation within the gospel, man, within our good news, man. This is what it's finna be. All right? This is Revelation 6. Okay? And 2. And it says, and I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering, okay, to conquer. And this is Yahweh Shai on that chariot, man. And that bow represents what? All right, war. Okay, and the crown was given unto him authority, man. You see, this thing is about Israelite men coming back to their authority, man, to their power. And this is what Yahweh Shai is coming back to do. This is what he's coming back to restore. The scriptures speak about us being redeemed. Not only are we being redeemed out of captivity, but we're being redeemed, restored back to power. Okay, this is why we're here. Okay, and we're going to get to enjoy, okay, the earth in its fullness, man. We're going to get to enjoy our families, man. The Israelite woman needs to be restored. You know, if we get on Eve a lot, you know, most of, you know, the American nigger woman is through for the most part. You know, there's a remnant amongst them, you know, a few sisters that the Lord going to have mercy on. Okay, but overall, it's time for the Israelite woman to be restored, man, to her order. It's time for us to populate the earth in righteousness, man. Okay, of people that's most destroyed. Okay, the people that need to be restored, all right, the most is the people that's been destroyed the most. Okay, and what has happened to us as a people hasn't happened to these heathens, man. Okay, so the goodness that the Lord, all right, has coming is exclusively for us, man. Okay, it's time for a restoration. You see, it's time for Israel to get back into their purpose, man. All right, and the Israelite men, okay, we're meant to be righteous judges, man, kings, rulers. Okay, the Israelite woman was supposed to be a royal, a delicate woman. Okay, what Esau has turned, you know, our people into, men and women. Okay, is a disaster, man. This shit got to be stopped. This cycle of destruction and degeneracy amongst our people, it has to be stopped, man. Okay, and the nation that's responsible there is Esau, Edom, the Edomites, and all these heathens are assisting this man and keeping this shit going. Okay, and this is what we're here to speak against. That's why even you go here, Psalms, is it 94? This is Psalm 94 and 16. It says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee? Okay. So shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law, man. So it ain't meant for the heathen to be within our rulership, man. You know, we're a righteous people. The Lord created us, the sons of God, to be the righteous judges of the earth, man. Okay? These heathens is not built to partake in this. Okay? They're meant to be in servitude forever. All right? And the first 1,000 years of servitude going to be a rigorous, harsh captivity, man. Okay? But they've done too much. And they continue to do too much, man. Okay? So this is what's coming, all right, to the heathen. It's servitude, man. They have no place within our throne, within our rulership, man. Okay? They have no fellowship with us. Okay? It's going to be a major difference between Israel and the heathen. Okay? Then you jump in the same chapter, jump up to 16. It says, who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Okay? Who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity, man? Okay, so we've been called into the ministry to stand up completely against the workers of iniquity, man. Okay, and this Esau and this conglomerate of heathen nations, man, that's assisting this man. Okay, you see, so who would rise up against me for the evildoer? Were the prophets. Okay, okay, and the prophets will be in complete opposition against this devil, man. Okay, and his heathen allies, man. Okay, because these heathens don't care about, the throne of David being established, the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, being the standard in the earth, man. These heathens not into that, man. It's only one nation of people that's into that, man, and that's beginning with, the prophets, man, the first fruits. But only the hopeful elect is interested in seeing the earth reign in righteousness forever, man. Okay, and for you Jakes to believe that message, you really don't got that much of a problem with this current rulership. The fact that you would even consider that, shows that you really not against this current setup like that. Okay, you're really not with the Lord setting his people up on high and being far above these heathens, man. We're gonna be far above these heathens. It's gonna be a major separation, man. Okay, these heathens are finna be labor. Okay, just as we've been labor to build up their empire, they finna be labor for ours, man. Okay, nothing more than that, man. You see all this talking about limited salvation and a vassal and all. No, they finna be labor. Okay, and it says verse going back. I start at the top again. Isaiah 61:1. It said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord have anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He have sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound." Okay, and this message is freeing our people from that slave mindset. Okay, this message is freeing our people. Okay, because remember, this captivity traumatized us, man. And part of that trauma was having this slave mentality, man. Just having this fear of this devil in this society, and not going along with, the status quo of this society, man. Well, the truth breaks us from the fear of this devil, man. Okay? The truth breaks us free from looking at ourselves as inferior to these devils, man. Okay? And it breaks us out of that slave mindset. Okay? We can fully see an earth being ran in righteousness, okay, without Esau not in the mix of none of these heathens, man. Okay? Yahweh Shai and the first fruit are fully equipped to run the earth in righteousness, man. By themselves, man. With no heathen assistance. Okay? But going back to the trauma that our people suffer, man, it has created a low self-esteem. It's a byproduct of the trauma of slavery, man. You see, we're really being healed from some deep wounds. You see, Yahweh Shai is working a miracle amongst the elect to where we're being healed from deep wounds, to where we don't think like the majority of our people, man. We don't have the same outlook that they got, man. Our people are really so beat down and traumatized by this system that they can't see, all right, the earth running without Esau being somewhere in power. Jake can't get past it. Okay, that's why they don't mind believing a message like this, man. You know, it says to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance, okay, of our power, to comfort all that mourn. Okay, so we're claiming the day of vengeance, man. The vengeance against who? All these heathens, man, beginning with Esau. Okay, to comfort all that mourn, which is Israel. Okay, and this time it's the elect of Israel. Okay, this word is bringing comfort to Israel. The heathen not comforted by this word, man. They can't be. Okay, because there's no good news for them. So they can't be comforted by this word. Okay, but they're going to enjoy the perks of salvation. It don't make sense. Okay, it says to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called the trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, that he might be glorified. Okay, so the Lord is finna plant Israel in righteousness, man. You see, we're being delivered in those chariots. The elect gonna be delivered up in those chariots, and then we're gonna come back down, and we're gonna be planted in righteousness, man, to rule the earth forever in righteousness. Okay, you gotta understand why we're here. You know, Isaiah 1. You see, we're being delivered, okay, for the sake of a righteous rulership. Okay, we're gonna be delivered. We're gonna be changed. All right, for the purpose of the Lord establishing a righteous rulership in the earth, man. Okay, Israel coming out those chariots to establish righteousness in the earth, man. Yahushua is coming to establish the throne of David in the earth, man, which represents dominating the heathen, man. Okay, Isaiah 1 and 25, it says, and I will turn my hand upon thee and purely purge away thy dross and take away all thy sin. You know, so the Lord, all right, is purging the remnant to get those unwanted qualities out of us, man. And then he's going to purge away 2/3 from the 1/3 to get away those undesirable spirits, man. Okay, because the Lord, he's going to purify his people. Okay, so he's purging, all right, the unwanted qualities out of the 1/3, and he's going to purge away the 2/3 from the 1/3, man. Okay, and he's going to restore, okay, a pure seed of Israel in the earth as rulers, man. Okay, it says, and I will restore thy judges as at the first. Wait a minute, I will restore thy judges as at the first. So what is he talking about? At the first. So this is speaking about a people being restored back to a former state. You know, except this state, we're going to have more glory because we're going to be eternal with the laws in us. We're going to be perfect. We're going to be immortal with the laws in us, man. Okay, so the Lord raised up the prophets, man, because he's going to restore a people back to power forever, man. Over the rest of the people, over the rest of the heathens, man. You know, over the heathens. Okay, and it says, and I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors at the beginning. Afterward, thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Okay, the city of righteousness. Okay, the faithful city, man. Okay, so Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, all right, is raising up a nation, a remnant amongst the nation of Israel to restore them, okay, as the righteous rulers of the earth, man. They're pure, you know, seed, okay? They're righteous remnant. You see? It says Zion, okay, will be redeemed with judgment, and her converts with righteousness, man. You know? So we're going to be redeemed through righteous judgment when the Lord comes and, take down the heathen, deliver us in the chariots, change us. Okay, there's going to be that redemption, take us out this captivity, restore us to power. Okay, but it's going to be those Israelites that have converted. There's a lot of Israelites with fringes and head wraps that ain't converted, man. They just know they Israelites, and that's where it stopped. Okay, and after that, it goes all over the place, man. It's a ball of yarn. Okay, it can't be untangled, man. Okay, so we have to understand, like, why are we here? What is the Lord doing? Okay, matter of fact, let's finish there in the book of Romans 12. All right. Yep, let's get this in AMP, Romans 12 and 2 in the AMP. And it says, and do not be conformed to this world any longer with their superficial values and customs, man. And what does Jake still want to do? Jake still want to be niggas. The nigga woman still want to, operate as a feminist. Okay, the customs of this world. That's why there's no true understanding. Jake want to teach with the hat on. Jake want to be a Crip still, Jake still want to call on Jesus and all. This the customs of this world. The superficial custom of this world. Jake still want to be popular. He want to be, social media star. All there's the superficial, values and customs of this world, man. Okay, it says, but be transformed and progressively changed as you mature spiritually, man. And you can't tell no one that's spiritually mature that all nations can be saved. Okay, the nation's gonna be destroyed. All nations gonna be destroyed. You got one guy saying the nation's gonna be destroyed, and one saying that they're gonna be saved, man. All over the place, man. But you can't tell anyone that's spiritually mature anything. It works on simpletons, man. Okay, it says, as you mature spiritually by the renewing of your mind, focusing on godly values and ethical attitudes, so that you may prove for yourselves what the will of the Most High is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect, in His plan and purpose for you. So you really begin to understand what the will of the Lord is, the more you conform to Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, okay, and you separate from this world, you detach from this world and cleave on to Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, then we're able to understand what His will is, what His purpose is, how He's really moving in the earth. Okay, the point of the matter. Okay, the big picture in the spirit. Okay, but if you just here to hang out and you happen to be a part of these different networks and clicks on the internet, on social media, and and that's your ceiling of being an Israelite, then you'll never mature to what's really happening, to what the Lord is really doing. Okay, to what His will is, man, to what His purpose is. Okay, so yeah, that's the point, man. Why we're here. And it's something we have to ask ourselves: why are we here? What what's our purpose? What the Lord got us on? What assignment, does He have us on? What's the Lord's agenda and everything, prophecy, how it's playing out? So the more we conform to Yahweh Shai and separate from this world, the more things become clear. We get clarity on, all right, what the Lord is doing, His will and His agenda, man. So that's the point. Lord will you, brothers. All right, and you sisters are edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutation to the hopeful Shalom.